Li Hao ventured along the crumbling, winding stone path, his steps taking him to the edge of a vast, tranquil pool formed by a cascading waterfall. "That's odd," he mused. "I could have sworn I heard a flute." He scanned his surroundings, uncertain whether it was just his imagination. The waterfall ahead seemed like a curtain, but through the cascading water, he spotted the faint outline of a small temple. Surprised, he focused, his body moving with the fluid grace of the Bai Fengxing technique. Like a bird flitting through trees, he passed effortlessly through the water, emerging on the other side without a single drop clinging to him. The skill points he had previously reserved were now spent honing his movement technique to near perfection. As Li Hao stepped into the temple's hidden space, he noticed two figures standing on a distant stone platform covered in moss. "Wait, Yueyao, was that someone just now?" one figure asked, pointing towards the waterfall. "I think so," the other replied, noting the fleeting figure that wore the garb of an external academy disciple. Lin Feifei couldn't help but frown in confusion. What is an external disciple doing here? It's not time for the new student's annual exam, is it? She thought, her gaze following the figure. He must have entered the regional lord's temple. Could he be heading towards the Meng River? Song Yueyao, however, wasn't the slightest bit interested. She simply shook her head and continued playing her flute, her focus unwavering from the melody. Behind the waterfall, Li Hao stood quietly, gazing at the small temple before him. Barely half his height, it was a delicate structure, housing two figures inside, one male, one female. Their forms were ancient, their features faded with time, and yet there was an unmistakable softness in their expressions. But as he observed closer, the decay of their faces and the fragments of clay falling away made the smiles on their lips seem more eerie, almost malevolent. The ancient temple stood quietly, with an imposing couplet etched on either side. "The earth can produce all things, the soil can bury all lives." And above, a horizontal inscription reads simply, "A regional lord." As Li Hao examined the temple, a small booklet suddenly soared out from within, opening in front of his eyes. Without warning, a sheet of paper shot out, its divine speed aiming directly for Li Hao's head. Shocked, he attempted to dodge, but even with his 15 Li realm cultivation, he couldn't react in time. The divine light pierced his head, and in an instant, the world around him seemed to dissolve into water, transforming into a surreal blend of reality and illusion. The dim cave became distorted, as if encased in a shimmering barrier, enclosing him within. Before him, golden, ethereal words appeared. "You have entered the Meng River. Your residence has been confirmed. Great Yu Dynasty, Qingzhou. Please provide your name for registration within the Meng River." Li Hao paused in disbelief. Had he truly entered the Meng River? As he looked around, the barrier around him flowed like liquid light, and beyond it, a vast expanse of broken mountains unfolded, far from the cave where he had just been. Was this the fabled place of mysterious dangers? Astonishing! Even though he had heard tales of the Meng River, experiencing it firsthand left him in awe. This was beyond what ordinary martial arts could comprehend. But what level of danger did this Meng River belong to? Li Hao, who usually spent his days fishing, had learned from his mentor that there were 5 levels of the Meng River, and even the great masters, like Second Master and Elder Feng, dared not venture into the Yudu level, where unimaginable terrors awaited. As he stood there, the divine light that had once entered Li Hao's forehead now gathered in his hand, transforming into a sheet of gold paper. The paper was blank, yet as information flowed into his mind, he understood. With a moment of thought, he pricked his finger and inscribed the name Chong-Er onto the paper. The instant he finished, the paper glowed with a golden light, engulfing the blood-written name before transforming back into divine light that vanished into Li Hao's body. Slowly, the shimmering barrier surrounding him faded, revealing the desolate land outside, shattered mountains stretching into the horizon. Is this conversation helpful so far? A message suddenly appeared in his mind. Realm: Fengshan Menge River. Meng River completion rate: 0%. Li Hao glanced up, the red sky hanging low like blood as the sun dipped behind the horizon. Before him stretched a barren mountain, a small village visible in the distance, with faint wisps of smoke rising from cooking fires. He focused, releasing his divine soul to scout ahead. A shadow of himself, An ethereal reflection shot into the sky, soaring miles above the village and the mountain. His vision extended further, peering into the Meng River battlefield. As his gaze reached the distant horizon, an ominous darkness loomed, and a chilling sensation crawled over him, warning that something in that darkness was not to be disturbed. He swiftly pulled his divine soul back, narrowing his focus to the village and its surroundings. Within the village, the people moved abu-told, and young alike men working the fields, women weaving, all seemingly content. But a closer look at their faces, and the peaceful illusion shattered. Is this conversation helpful so far? The air was thick with an eerie stillness as the villagers shuffled aimlessly, their faces gaunt and hollow, their eyes lifeless voids. The elderly resembled corpses. Children's gazes were vacuous, their tongues limp against their chests, while women, weaving by windows, had nails like sharpened daggers, teeth bared in twisted grins. This village, a realm beyond the living, exuded a haunting charm. Li Hao couldn't help but sigh. Having encountered terrifying fish demons before, these spirits of the Mo River seemed almost tame in comparison. Yet, his task remained. Was it necessary to deal with them all to complete his mission? He pondered, his thoughts drifting. Yet a lingering hesitation held him back. There was the temple to consider, located at the heart of the village on a stage-like platform. He had found it through his divine soul's probing, its position as sly as a trap. That person? He seems to be in charge, doesn't he? In the soul succession realm, can the dead even retain their soul's shadows? Li Hao's eyes narrowed, spotting a figure atop a hill. A black-robed scholar, flanked by the ghostly figure of a woman, smoke billowing from her, emanating a chilling aura. After a brief assessment, Li Hao's divine soul withdrew, and he stepped forward with purpose toward the village. The villagers, lurking at the entrance, noticed him immediately. Li Hao greeted with a smile, raising his hand. The elder, leading a child, snarled and rushed toward him with a ferocious glare. The child, once seemingly innocent, suddenly revealed sharp teeth and charged. Li Hao, feeling helpless, flicked a dead branch nonchalantly, sending snowflakes fluttering as the old man and child stiffened, their heads cleanly severed before they could even reach him. Carrying the branch with ease, Li Hao strolled down the ancient path, entering the village. The villagers, transplanting rice seedlings, grew aggressive upon spotting him, roaring and charging forward. Some farmers with straw hats and grain-laden shoulder poles joined in the fray. As Li Hao continued his walk, he casually asked, "Do you also dream of conquering the Great Sea?" His steps unhurried, the dead branch swinging like snow falling from the sky. As the snowflakes gently touched the villagers, they seemed to act like an invisible seal, freezing their bodies in place. Li Hao ventured deeper into the village, encountering more villagers' women with pots, and long-tongued weaver saw rushing toward him. All of them are in the Zhou Tian realm. Some even at the perfect Zhou Tian, Li Hao mused, swinging his dead branch with calm precision, leaving a trail of severed corpses behind. These villagers, who appeared as mere ghosts, were real enough here in the Mo River, their bodies bleeding black as they fell. Could this be the same Mo River where we'll face our trial in a year? Li Hao wondered aloud. The challenge didn't seem too daunting to him, aside from the black-robed scholar in the Soul Succession realm lurking behind the village. It seemed fitting to test Alpha Academy's disciples here, but as each villager fell, Li Hao noticed the gold paper in his hand ticking up the completion. Meng River completion, 89%. It seemed every villager he defeated contributed about 1% to the total, but even if he eliminated all of them, reaching a full 100% seemed impossible. Disintegrating the Mo River entirely felt beyond reach. The Mo River's true challenge lay in its inability to be eradicated easily. Only absolute resolve could banish it. Many had tried, even seeking to obliterate all remnants of the river, but their efforts were in vain. The Mo River could not be destroyed. Unless truly resolved, it would always regenerate, sprawling across the world again. Li Hao, passing by a nearby temple, hesitated before entering. Deciding to test his abilities, he summoned his divine soul, sending it soaring into the sky. Soon, it found two lost children on the village's edge. With a mere gesture, he caused the ground to stir, sending pebbles flying, sealing off the last fish that had escaped. Completion of the Mo River was now at 90%. Returning his soul, Li Hao moved swiftly, appearing on a hill far from the village, beside a black-robed scholar. The sudden appearance startled the scholar, who hadn't anticipated his arrival. Li Hao had already sensed something unusual about the black-robed scholar. Unlike the lifeless villagers, his expression carried depth and independent thought. As the ethereal silhouette of a woman, resting on his back, suddenly fixed her cold gaze on Li Hao, the scholar spoke softly. "Someone of your realm should not be here," Li Hao responded with a hint of apology. "I didn't intend to, but I wandered in by accident." After a brief pause, the black-robed scholar requested, "Before we fight, could you let me finish my work?" Li Hao, noticing the scholar holding a palette in one hand and a brush in the other, saw the brush stained with blood. On the easel in front of him was a portrait of a woman who looked strikingly similar to the one on his back. "Do you also appreciate the art of painting?" Li Hao asked, surprised that a soul, long departed, would still engage in such a pursuit. The black-robed scholar remained silent, continuing to add delicate strokes to the painting. Intrigued, Li Hao leaned closer. Admiring the scholar's impressive skills, this painting was certainly of the highest caliber, rivaling any other Li Hao had ever seen. "You stand apart from the others," Li Hao observed, his gaze unwavering. The scholar, draped in black robes, frowned at the interruption. He preferred solitude, especially when immersed in his artwork, but Li Hao's aura demanded respect, making the disturbance tolerable. "They're nothing more than my servants?" the scholar replied, his tone flat. "So, you are the one responsible for the creation of the Menge River," Li Hao remarked, his voice sharp. "If I deal with you, then the river should cease to exist, right?" "You cannot destroy me," came the indifferent response. "Even if you erase this place, I shall return." "Why linger on when you've already perished?" Li Hao sighed, his voice tinged with sadness. The scholar's brush paused midair, a fleeting smirk tugging at his lips. He almost spoke, but the words halted at the edge of his tongue, as if something darker held him back. With a mocking laugh, he turned his attention back to his painting, leaving Li Hao to pace nearby, his eyes scanning the area in contemplation. Li Hao, observing the black-robed scholar, noticed that the scholar's attention had shifted away from him, so he turned his focus to the artwork instead. The painting, infused with an unusual intensity, was made not with ink, but with blood, making it seem both fierce and powerful. Yet, Li Hao wasn't just captivated by the surface, his gaze penetrated deeper, analyzing the technique. "Your brushwork here is too soft," he remarked, pointing out a section that lacked detail. "You haven't used enough blood." One strong stroke would saturate the area, letting the color spread naturally. It would appear more lifelike that way. The scholar paused, his hands stilling, and glanced at Li Hao with an intense gaze. "You understand painting?" he asked. "A little," Li Hao responded modestly. The black-robed scholar studied him closely. Despite Li Hao's relatively low cultivation being in the Soul Succession, Relmus' unique connection to the Menge River had allowed him to exist in this place, the Tan Palace Academy, for hundreds of years. Over that time, many martial artists had come and gone, some far stronger, capable of obliterating entire villages with a mere wave. Others, weaker, had fallen prey to the Academy's trials, their lives claimed over the centuries. Even those with remarkable abilities had been swiftly defeated. Yet, there was something rare about Li Hao, a quality the scholar couldn't quite place, making the youth's presence extraordinary. Despite his tender age, his martial arts mastery was nothing short of terrifying, and he had even delved into some of the peripheral paths. The art of painting is profound and unfathomable. No matter how clever you are, it cannot be mastered with mere effort, the scholar in black robes declared, before returning to his painting, ignoring Li Hao entirely. Li Hao, his eyes narrowing, wondered if this boy truly believed his painting skills to be extraordinary. To praise his martial prowess, perhaps. But painting? Indeed, the art of painting is profound, but unfortunately, you are but an outsider. Li Hao couldn't hold back any longer, speaking candidly. "What?" The scholar raised an eyebrow, his cold gaze now fixed on Li Hao. "This painting of yours has at least 16 flaws. It is rigid, utterly lacking in spirit." Li Hao declared decisively, no longer concerned with sparing the feelings of this fellow practitioner. The black-robed scholar, his face turning a furious shade of red, hissed, "What are you blabbering about?" His patience snapped as he glared at Li Hao. Without missing a beat, Li Hao pointed at various flaws on the paper before him. "Here, here, here, all defects. You can't see them because your skills are too low." The scholar trembled with rage, while the woman behind him swirled in a storm of black mist, preparing to attack. Li Hao, unfazed, knew that even an enraged soul succession realm couldn't intimidate him. "Give me the brush!" he demanded, snatching it from the scholar's hand. In a single motion, he tore the paper, crumpled it into a ball, and tossed it aside. The scholar's heart, consumed by fury, could no longer hold back his anger. His calm, handsome face twisted into something monstrous as blood began to seep from his 7 apertures, bubbling out in a grotesque display. The black robe flared up, revealing a blood-soaked garment underneath. Its dark color only a result of years of dried blood. The bloodstains had settled, creating a grim aura around the figure. But Li Hao showed no interest. His divine soul surged out, effortlessly pinning both the scholars and his own souls to the ground, leaving them paralyzed. Li Hao, unfazed, couldn't fathom the audacity of the scholar, who dared to be angry after producing such a grotesque artwork. If anyone should be furious, it was him. His gaze hardened, for the art of painting was something he held dear. Swiftly, he took the brush, letting the blood drip, each stroke building on the last, weaving depth with natural precision. The scholar's blood was quickly used up, so Li Hao picked him up and dipped the brush into his face for more, before continuing his work. In moments, a stunning portrait emerged, the woman captured perfectly, almost alive in her grace. This was no mere painting it breathed. To truly break someone, there was no better way than to dismantle their pride. Letting go of the scholar, Li Hao spoke coldly. "Take a look. If you can't see the difference now, then don't ever touch a brush again." The scholar in black robes felt a surge of rage, nearly choking on his fury. Cultivate crops in the village? His blood boiled at the thought. Just as he was about to lunge in anger, his gaze caught a drawing, freezing him in place. It was a picture of her Yue. His body stilled, heart racing as recognition struck him. The scholar trembled, his anger fading into disbelief. Tears of blood began to spill from his eyes as he whispered her name in disbelief. "Yue, is it really you?" He staggered forward, reaching out with trembling hands, his fingers just shy of touching her image. But in his panic, he pulled back, as though fearing that even the slightest contact would ruin the delicate face in the drawing. His body shook, and the blood tears flowed relentlessly. The female soul resting on his back stared at the painting, her fierce black eyes gradually revealing a hint of contemplation. "How does it compare to yours?" A voice, slightly offbeat, interrupted the black-robed scholar's focus. He paused, snapped out of his trance, and turned to look at the young man. Seeing the slight pride on his face, the scholar, instead of getting angry, suddenly knelt before him with a thud. "Thank you." He lowered his head, gratitude filling his eyes. "Thank you for allowing me to see Yue again." "So, the woman in the painting is Yue?" Li Hao raised an eyebrow, uninterested in the name. Without hesitation, he helped the scholar to his feet. "This art of painting, it's profound and unpredictable. You must not only grasp it with your heart, but also with your spirit." As Li Hao explained, the scholar's gaze drifted back to the woman in the painting, his focus consumed by her image. The noise around him faded into nothingness. Time stretched on endlessly. Li Hao, exhausted from speaking, grew frustrated when he noticed the person in front of him was lost in thought. "Are you even listening?" he demanded. The black-robed scholar snapped back to reality, flashing a smile at Li Hao. The color of his robe shifted, from black to blood red, then light red, and finally to a pure white scholar's robe. It seemed as if he had once been a scholar in life. "My wish is fulfilled, thank you, benefactor," the scholar said, his smile filled with relief. Behind him, the female spirit that had been clinging to his back released a black mist, revealing a form resembling the woman in the painting. In the void, she bowed gracefully to Li Hao, her eyes filled with gratitude. As the two figures began to fade, the scholar's voice echoed softly. "You." His figure blurred, a smile still playing on his lips. Li Hao stood frozen in confusion. What was happening? Just then, his palm warmed, and the gold paper appeared. The letters etched themselves into the surface. Progress 100%. Fengshan Menge River Pass completed. Reward 100 merit points. The ground beneath Li Hao quivered gently as his eyes widened in disbelief. The once vibrant mountains and the fiery crimson sky slowly faded away, and a sense of unease took over him. Was it over? Had he finally conquered the Mo River battlefield? It felt like time itself was slipping through his fingers. As the earth crumbled around him, threatening to swallow everything, Li Hao swiftly moved from his little thatched hut, stepping out just in time to avoid collapse. He rushed to the central stage, his movements fluid and precise. With determination, he placed the gold paper inside the eerie temple. In an instant, golden light exploded from within, and a shimmering barrier enveloped him. Surrounded by this protective force, he watched in awe as the world outside disintegrated. The village trembled and blurred, caught in the storm of destruction, until all that remained was emptiness. Is this conversation helpful so far? Li Hao found himself once again in that narrow, dimly lit cave. The old temple, once glowing with a soft golden light, now stood silent, its radiance dimmed, leaving two worn statues with faint smiles. As the gold paper fluttered back into his palm, a warm sensation spread through him. A new breath, akin to a divine soul, seemed to stir within his body. Focusing his mind, he summoned the golden thread, which reformed into the gold paper in his hand. 3 lines of small characters appeared on it. Name: Chong-er. Merit points: 100. Ranked 99 in the Great Yu Dynasty. Meritorious deeds: cleared Fengshan Mo River. So these are merit points? Li Hao mused. They don't seem like much. He inspected the paper carefully, remembering what he'd heard from the second master in Feng about the Mo River battlefield's 5 levels, each vastly different in difficulty. The one he had just faced was the lowest, the remorse level. Clearing a battlefield like this earned merit points. But if someone were to clear it completely and cause the Mo River to disappear forever, the rewards would be far greater. If he had simply killed the Cloaked Scholar and destroyed the village, he would have earned just a single merit point. But beyond that lay the levels of the Mo River, the Shadowy Ghoul level Mo River, the Ming Domain level Mo River, and the Ghost City level Mo River, a place even the second master and the others avoided. The most terrifying Mo River, however, was so dangerous that even saints like them dared not enter. Its mention alone sent shivers through the ranks. The Ghost City Mo River was a forbidden place, and only the Grand Masters of the Tianren sect dared to enter the Ming Domain Mo River. Though it wasn't directly under the Li family's control, they possessed some documents regarding it. Destroying the Shadowy Ghoul level Mo River would earn about 10 merit points. Taking out the Ming Domain level Mo River would grant 100. But clearing the Ming Domain Mo River, that would net a staggering 10,000 points. No one truly knows what merit points are, for not even the Divine General Mansion, which has guarded the Mo River for generations. Whispers circulate like drifting leaves. Some say the points can be exchanged after death for rebirth. Others claim they wash away the weight of bloodshed, earning blessings for the next life. But when even the old masters speak with certainty that their purpose remains a mystery, those rumors lose all power. For now, merit points are nothing more than a fluctuating tally and abstract score revealing the number of powerful cultivators still alive within the Daiyu realm. That's the key. Alive. The moment a person falls, their merit points vanish with them, their name struck from the list without mercy. And that list? Li Hao only needed a thought. The gold paper shimmered, responding to his will. Words shifted, realigned, and before his eyes, the ranking unfurled. The first name that drew Li Hao's attention was Wang Zhendong, with an impressive merit point score of 9,372. Next, he spotted Wang Tiancheng, earning 7,328 merit point. And then, to his surprise, the third place was another Wang. As he scrolled further down, he realized that 6 of the top 10 on the list bore the Wang surname. Even more astonishing, out of the top 30, 15 were from the Wang family. Li Hao's heart sank as he pondered the weight of this revelation. While the Wang family's responsibility was to suppress the Mo River, he couldn't help but wonder just how many lives had been sacrificed for this cause. The merit points, seemingly just cold, glittering numbers, hid the blood, sweat, and tears behind them, representing countless life and death battles, perilous encounters, and sacrifices. It wasn't much different from slaying demons on the frontier. Do you like this personality? You must understand, Li Hao thought, his eyes scanning the list of merit. The Li family once defended this land at the edge of the abyssix of 9 sons from a single generation, gave their lives slaying demons. Tragedy shaped our legacy. And now? It seemed the other Divine General Mansions had faced their own silent storms. The Wang family names filled the merit list like gravestones that glowed how many had once stood proud before vanishing into ash. The dynasty stands tall today, vibrant with peace. Children laugh on flower boats, youths gallop free through sunlit fields, Merchants call through the streets with wares and no fear. But all of it, this golden piece held aloft by nameless warriors who cradled it through the dark, offering their lives without a whisper. This age of prosperity was paid in blood, Li Hao murmured, reverent. As his eyes continued down the list, he did not find the second elder. Perhaps he used another name. But then a title caught his eye. Bu Lu Xing, ranked 35, with a staggering 3,201 in merit, a name spoken before by Elder Feng. He paused. Only one could match that moniker and merit, the Thief Saint. Even in seclusion, Elder Feng carries such silent weight, Li Hao thought, his gaze sharpening. Apart from the second elder, Elder Feng had few allies, and most of his merit came from his own battles, fought alone in suppressing the Mo River. Despite this, he held a poor reputation, despised as the Thief Saint by the world's powers, a target of scorn from all sides. But why would he risk everything for such deeds? Perhaps there's a reason, or perhaps no reason is needed. As Li Hao pondered this, a wave of silence washed over him. He suddenly realized that the elder who joked and laughed with him was familiar in manner, but not fully understood. His thoughts soon turned to the next name on the list, Jianghu Dao. Remarkably, just like the Wang family, he used his real name. A critical shortage of manpower grips the Mo River Authority, turning the region tense and unstable. Yet it's exactly this collapse that propelled Li Hao into the top 100 of the Great Yu Dynasty just by clearing a single regret-level Mo River. He quietly sighs, folding away the golden paper when a faint tremor brushes against his perception someone is drawing near. His instincts sharpen. Ahead, the divine temple begins to sink slowly, fading into the earth. This temple, tied to the Fengshan Mo River, is vanishing along with it. But then a sudden realization hits him like a bolt. Wasn't this Mo River supposed to be part of the new disciples' test scheduled for next year? If it disappears now, then what will they even be tested on? This isn't just strange, it's a problem. Big time. A crisis brews at the Mo River Authority. A shortage of manpower leading to growing tension. In a surprising turn, this situation allows one individual to rank among the top 100 of the Great Yu Dynasty by simply clearing a single regret-level Mo River. Li Hao, ever calm, sighs as he folds the golden paper, his thoughts interrupted by a faint disturbance in his senses. Someone is nearing, and upon looking at the divine temple before him, he realizes it is slowly sinking into the earth. This temple, once connected to the Mo River, will now vanish with its disappearance. A thought strikes him sharply. Could this Mo River be a test for new disciples set to begin a year from now? If it vanishes so suddenly, what will be left for the test? Li Hao feels a cold sweat creeping down his spine as the enormity of the situation dawns on him. Isn't this just like tearing up the exam papers before the test even begins? Li Hao was stunned. All he wanted was to show that scholar a few strokes of the brush. He never meant to break the barrier. Without another word, he vanished, slipping away like wind scattering leaves. But as he disappeared, ripples echoed across the land. Chapter 54, Stone Script Reader. In the distant southern range of 9 peaks, atop the famed Sword Hut, where swordsmen dream of standing above 10,000 Zun Mountain, the legendary summit is shockingly humble. A simple grassy hill, a straw hut no better than a cattle shed. Inside, Jianghu Dao sat unmoved. No sword gleam, no spiritual blaze, just him, a rough-hewn desk, and stacks of ancient books. Do you like this personality? Its only strength lay in its perfect balance unshakably even. Amid curling incense rising from a desk burner, Jian Wudaoen, old man with white hair and beard, but a face so youthful it seemed untouched by time, sat silently. Eyes closed, a scroll of sword techniques in one hand, titled Detailed Explanation of Swordsmanship Basics. His other hand tapped gently on his knee, lost in deep contemplation. Then came a voice from outside the straw hut, Master. The old man opened his eyes just as a young man in white robes leapt inside, a glint of gold flickering in his palm before transforming into a floating golden slip. Master! A new Grandmaster just appeared on the virtue list! He pointed to the name at the bottom, brow furrowed. Chongarad name. He shattered a Ming Domain Mo River. But this name doesn't sound like someone from the authority. Jianghu Dao's gaze remained calm, his voice colder than steel. What does that have to do with you? Just curious, the young disciple grinned, already guessing his master's reaction. Those ancient grandmasters? Either they're sitting safe atop their sex, or quietly chasing immortality behind closed doors. They wouldn't bother with such pointless affairs. It's probably some fresh grandmaster trying to make a name. I want to test my skills against him. His master, Jianghu, remained cold, voice sharp as a blade. Swordsmanship demands solitude. There are countless swordsmen in this world. How can you expect to rise above them with your 3-foot blade if you don't pour in 1,000 times the effort? If your heart were fully on the sword, you'd already be touching the immortal threshold. The youth whispered under his breath, overwhelmed by the thought of the immortal path. But master, if I could learn through real duels, wouldn't I grow faster? Jianghu snorted. When I reached the Grandmaster realm, I secluded myself for 3 years. No distractions, only the sword. As I emerged, I realized I had become one of the 3 immortals without ever needing to spar with anyone. Jianghu, with a cold snort, knew his 3rd disciple had mixed desires, and couldn't help but think of another, his gaze softening slightly. "How's your little apprentice sister doing under your guidance?" he asked. The young man grinned, answering, "She's already half a step into the divine travel realm. Her spirit condensed 180 times. Far stronger than I was at her age. Master, you're definitely playing favorites." Though the words were playful, a smile tugged at his lips. Jianghu rolled his eyes. "If you could understand the essence of the sword in just 1 year, I'd be willing to go to Gantao Palace and get you a real soul succession myself." "I don't need you to ask favors for me, master," the disciple replied with a grin. "Besides, my little apprentice sister has a passion for the sword. She'll understand the sword spirit eventually. I can't compare to that." The young man continued cheerfully. "Speaking of which, she owes you a lot, master. A stern master reminds his brash student that whisking the girl away from the divine general's estate spared her from a life of endless spiritual refining, noting that even 80 successful condensations, impressive for most, still fall short of imperial level greatness. When the student grumbles about the estate's restrictive soul inheritance, the master silences him, defending the frontier, guarding Li Clan's honor, and delivering an ultimatum. Perfect the elusive sleepless moon technique within 3 months, or face exile to Swordcliff, and stop prying into the forbidden Mo River records. That's the business of the Divine General Mansion. Once you reach the level of the 3 immortals, I will allow you to leave the mountain. Until then, with your current abilities, if you were to start your own sect and face a challenge, it would be you who'd lose my face." The young man left with a dejected heart, not daring to linger any longer. A newcomer on the virtue list? In a certain sect, someone happened to glance at the virtue list, noticing the newly added name. A full 100 contributions. Did he really destroy a Ming Domain level Mo River? Which Grandmaster has emerged from seclusion? Chonger, such a strange name. Go check which sect's Grandmaster this is, and see if we can recruit him. In a tall building within a city, an order was given. In Yangzhou, within the Divine General Mansion's courtyard, an air of mystery hung thick in the air. In the gilded hush of Tan Palace Academy, a wide-eyed maid breathlessly tells her silk-veiled lady that a baffling name, Chong Erhas, flashed onto the sacred virtue list, stirring rumors of a hero bold enough to tackle the Mo River calamity. The lady, amused yet shrewd, orders the girl to eavesdrop outside her father's chamber and learn this stranger's identity, promising a junior overseer's seat if he can be lured in, then idly sketches wind and moon in the dust with a twig, savoring the intrigue. Meanwhile, in the somber black hall, White Hall, crafty Song Yufeng, smugly about to brew contraband tea, freezes as a troop of elders barrels toward him, heart thundering with the dread that his charade has already been exposed. He quickly covered the cup, keeping his composure. "Palace Master!" The leading elder, Huang Lakao, approached with visible excitement. Song Yufeng's face twitched slightly as he coughed. "Old Huang, no need to get so worked up. It's just..." "Palace Master! The Fengshan Menge River has disappeared." Huang Lakao interrupted. Elder Ni detected some strange activity and went to investigate. The regional lord's temple is gone. It vanished right after being permanently cleared, otherwise it would have shattered into dust. "What?" Song Yufeng was stunned, then quickly relaxed, relieved that they weren't there to hold him accountable. Wait, the Fengshan Menge River had been cleared? By whom? What's going on? Explain clearly. Who did this? Pressure mounts as Song Yufeng demands answers, but Huang Lekao can only admit failure until he hints that the lone witness is Yufeng's own granddaughter. At once, Yueyao and her friend Lin Feifei are ushered in, still stunned by the temple's sudden disappearance, and when Yufeng barks, "Who did it?" Yueyao's calm reply slices through the tension. The one who cleared everything was not an elder, not a guard, but an unknown outer disciple. Feifei and I were training nearby when we glimpsed only the side profile of a figure we didn't recognize. "How many do you actually know, always stuck on training?" Song Yufeng muttered, then turned to Lin Feifei beside him. "Did you get a better look?" "Reporting to the palace master, I only saw a side profile too," Feifei replied quickly. "But if I see them again, I'll definitely recognize them." Song Yufeng nodded slightly. "All right then, go ahead and figure out who it was. This is good news, it deserves a great reward." "Should we inform the Mo River Authority?" Huang Lekao asked. "The Mo River Authority is already in enough trouble. We don't need their royal treasure. Clearing the Mo Rivers is our duty, and everyone's responsibility. Feng Mountain, once peaceful farmland, now lies ruined after the Mo River's wrath erased an entire village. The Grim Master sighs over the loss while his vigilant aide hurries away with 2 juniors determined to confirm the lone survivor's identity and broadcast a reward foe. The disciples of Black and White Hall chattered among themselves, curious about the sudden disappearance of the Mo River. Was it one of the elders? No one asked. Which elder would have the time for such a thing? Besides, even for them clearing it isn't easy, another replied, his tone laced with doubt. I've heard the requirements for clearing the Mo River are nearly impossible, incredibly difficult to meet, a third chimed in. And a reward of the Red Sky Precious Sword? That's forged from meteorite iron, known to crush anything in its pathivan capable of harming the divine soul, they marveled. Meanwhile, in the external houses, the buzz grew louder, especially at Alpha Academy. Those vying for top rankings in martial arts were left dumbfounded by the news. The Mo River is gone? They whispered. Wasn't that supposed to be the place for our test to enter Black and White Hall next year? How could it just disappear? How will we even enter when the time comes? The air was thick with confusion and uncertainty.
Unlike the calm determination at Alpha Academy, the other houses were lost in Confusion Mo River? Never heard of it. Their only goal had always been clear: qualify for Alpha Academy or be left behind. Without entry, even hearing about the Mo River meant nothing. Deep within the woods, Lin Feifei and Song Yueyao moved quietly toward the outer houses, tension in the air. Yueyao, could that person really be an outer disciple? I saw the flower markings on the robe, but Lin Feifei's voice trailed off, unease creeping in. She hadn't forgotten her own brutal attempt to cross the Fengshan Menge River. An entire village would respond. Each fighter trained in the Zhoutian realm, overwhelming in numbers. And, should the battle drag on, the silent shadow of the black-robed scholar would arrive, turning the encounter into a deadly trap even for soul succession experts. Yueyao gave no answer, only a faint shake of her head, as if the silence spoke louder than any words. The challenge ahead was daunting, especially with no clear answer in her heart. Crossing the Menge River at Feng Mountain was a near impossible feat. Disciples from the Black and White Hall might stand a chance, but for outer court disciples, it was almost out of the question unless they had reached the soul succession realm. The scholar in black robes, a true expert of the soul succession realm, exuded an overwhelming aura, as if facing not one, but 2 of such experts. The test for the outer court disciples wasn't about defeating him. It was about achieving a 50% completion rate, which could be met by slaughtering nearly half the village. This task was no simple feat. It required stealth, evasion, and precision, testing every skill of strength, speed, and technique. Slaughtering that many without alerting the scholar was nearly impossible once he intervened. Even the Black Hall disciples would be forced to retreat. I heard 2 members of the royal family have arrived, Lin Feifei murmured. Could it have been one of them? If they've mastered the cycle heaven realm perfection, with their unmatched meridian opening and qi circulation skills, there might be a slim chance of facing someone at the soul succession realm. Convinced that if even the royal bloodline had failed, no one else could succeed, the bold heroine urges a first-hand look. Led to the outer court, they enter a sea of expectant disciples where murmurs soar. The instant the white-robed prodigy appears, granddaughter of the palace master, scarcely 20 yet already, soaring in the divine travel realm, her fabled Ninagrade battle body, marking her as a once Sinjinushan genius, whose arrival sets the atmosphere crackling with awe and anticipation. Li Yuanzhao, with a calm expression, suddenly understood, his mind racing with thoughts of the legendary figures who had paved the way before him. At only 20, he had reached the divine travel realm, but his mother's stories of Ninth Uncle's unparalleled talent achieving the same realm at 13, becoming a grandmaster at 17, and ascending to the 7th realm by 19 made him feel small in comparison. Ninth Uncle's extraordinary feats had overshadowed all others, leaving Li Yuanzhao to view other geniuses as mere shadows of greatness. "Where's Hao? Why isn't he here?" Du Qiyu asked, her gaze scanning the crowd. Li Yuanzhao shrugged. "He's probably off playing chess with someone." "Playing chess?" Du Qiyu muttered with a slight twitch of her mouth. Meanwhile, Song Yueyao and Lin Feifei began their own search, eyes flickering over the crowd. As Jianghu observed their figures, a spark of intrigue lit up in his eyes. "She's captivating," he mused, considering the potential to make her his empress. With the backing of Tan Palace, he saw a promising future, though her age was a small inconvenience. But as his thoughts wandered, Song Yueyao's gaze locked onto his, and for a moment, time seemed to pause. Although they were all dressed in identical uniforms, the intensity of his aura stood out, making her suspect he might be of royal blood. How could a mere cultivator from the Zhoutian realm exude such a powerful presence, as overwhelming as a mighty flood dragon? As Song Yueyao's gaze lingered on him, Jiang Ye offered a subtle smile, his teeth flashing for a moment as he nodded in greeting. Yet, Song Yueyao merely shifted her attention elsewhere, dismissing him without a second glance. She scanned the crowd again, her brow furrowing in concentration, but none seemed to be the one she was searching for. "No," she murmured to the elder beside her. Huang Likao, caught off guard, leaned in and whispered, "Are you sure you've looked carefully?" "Yes," Song Yueyao responded, her tone firm. Huang Likao turned to Lin Feifei, who could only shake her head helplessly. Could it be that none of Alpha Academy's disciples are here? Huang Likao wondered to himself before turning to Su Yehua. "Are all the disciples of Alpha Academy present?" Su Yehua, aware of what they were searching for, scanned the crowd and noticed a few absences, muttering, "Almost everyone's here." The missing ones were the usual lazy sleeper and 2 unremarkable sons from noble families, hardly worth suspicion. "Odd." Huang Likao, thinking for a moment, whispered something to Su Yehua. She gave a small nod and immediately commanded, "Turn sideways." The crowd, confused, exchanged glances, unsure of the reason. Without further explanation, Su Yehua took control, her willowy eyebrows slightly furrowed in authority. The group obeyed without hesitation. They had long experienced her strict discipline. Song Yueyao and Lin Feifei looked on, puzzled. The uniforms made everyone appear familiar, but no one seemed to quite fit. In frustration, Huang Likao turned to Su Yehua, suggesting, "Let those who aren't here find me later, so Moon and the others can check." Su Yehua agreed with a nod. Huang Likao left the area, leading the 2 women to Beta Academy. A figure casually approached, carrying a wild rabbit in his hand. It was a young man, looking slightly disheveled in his academy uniform. "Which academy's disciple are you?" someone called out sharply. The young man, a bit surprised, looked up. "I'm from Alpha Academy. And you?" he responded, puzzled. "Alpha Academy?" the other asked, his heart racing with sudden interest. He glanced over to his companions, who were eyeing the newcomer with curiosity. The two girls studied him carefully. With his pale skin, bright eyes, and strikingly handsome features, he stood out. But the wild rabbit in his grip and the stains on his clothes told a different story, one of someone who wasn't quite polished. After a moment of silent inspection, the girls shook their heads, their thoughts clear. "Doesn't seem like him," they whispered. The figure who had asked just waved him off. "It's nothing. You can go." And so the young man walked away, still baffled, the wild rabbit dangling in his hand as he passed them by. Li Hao suddenly felt an odd familiarity with the two girls. Hadn't they crossed paths before in the Mo River cave? When he returned to Alpha Academy, Su Yehua immediately instructed him to find Huang Li Kao. After some inquiries, Li Hao pieced together the situation and shared his encounter on the road. Su Yehua, sensing no deceit, didn't doubt him after all. She too felt Li Hao was unlikely to be the person in question. Had he not been a member of the Li family and spent the last month idly sleeping, she would have scolded him severely. Back at his seat, Li Yuanzhao spilled all the details of the recent events to Li Hao. As the realization dawned on him, he felt somewhat disheartened. At least the academy had no intention of holding him accountable. And the reward? The Red Sky Precious Sword was indeed an impressive weapon, capable of injuring the Divine Sula rare item even in the Divine General Mansion, where only a few dozen could be found. What a pity. He had reached the 15 Li realm, a level where the previous constraints no longer held any weight. Above the waterfall, Shen Yunqing and Zhao Zongyuan were informed of this unexpected development, both stunned by the news. Who could have done this? Zhao Zongyuan wondered aloud, his disbelief palpable. It couldn't have been that kid, could it? The place he went to before. That's on the side of the Mo River. Shen Yunqing, shaking her head slightly, responded, "While the Mo River is nearby, it's still possible to return to the academy, though it may require a detour." He could have simply taken a wrong turn. Zhao Zongyuan, still unsure, mused, "It's hard to tell. This kid grasped your movement techniques so quickly. I always feel like there's more to him than meets the eye. He might not even be in the Zhoutian realm. Even reaching the Soul Succession realm would be a challenge." Shen Yunqing replied, her tone calm but thoughtful. "It's not about destruction, but passing the test. Who knows what conditions he had to meet. And we've just received word Song Yueyao witnessed the event. Old Huang led her to the external academy, where they found a child at Beta Academy who seemed to match the description. But after verification, it was clear he wasn't the one. Strange. Could he be someone from the Black and White Hall? She wondered. Who knows, but this will all be clear soon. Secrets can't stay hidden for long, Shen Yunqing remarked. Zhao Zongyuan, deep in thought, sighed. The Fengshan Mo River was perfect for testing newcomers, but now that it's gone, we'll have to rely on the other Mo River, though it's much tougher. They'll just have to deal with it, Shen Yunqing stated. Days later, Alpha Academy's disciples gathered in the courtyard. Li Hao, planning to skip the session, was called back by Su Yehua and reluctantly returned to his seat. Tomorrow marks your first trial since joining the Academia Real Demon Slaying Test, Su Yehua said with a calm expression, surveying the group. Martial artists must endure the trials of battle, blood, and fire. Do you like this personality? They've set everything up for you. All you need to do is report in and participate. Through this, you'll realize the flaws in your martial arts when facing real demons and learn what it truly means to fight against enemies. The crowd's eyes sparkled with excitement, and many of them couldn't wait to jump into action. Demon slaying? This was a dream many longed for. To travel with a sword, fighting demons, and ridding the world of evil. How thrilling. But be cautious. The tasks come in various difficulty levels. It's best to understand your own abilities. With that, Su Yahua pulled out a stack of papers and said, each task is assigned points based on its difficulty. These points can be exchanged at the Martial Scripture Pavilion for weapons, rare medicines, cultivation techniques, and even peerless skills. However, you must honestly assess your strength. Greed is also a test of your character as a martial artist. As she spoke, she handed the papers to a senior student, who started distributing them. Li Hao took his copy and began reading. The list of demon-slaying tasks stretched across different states and cities. Tan Palace Academy's reach extended far beyond its walls, connecting students with various states and cities. It was like sending them to big companies for internships, offering real-world experience. Li Hao's attention sharpened as his eyes landed on a mission list. One stood out: Demon-slaying task 23 in Qi State. It involved joining the Monster Suppression Department and assisting a local team in hunting demons, with a full score of 10 points. Qi State, the destination that caught his focus. Li Yuanzhao, always eager to support, asked, "Which task are you choosing?" Li Hao's response was decisive, his gaze cold. "The one in Qi State." Without much thought, Li Yuanzhao agreed. "I'll go with that too." Du Qiyue, overhearing, was quick to ask, "Can you take me along? Is this conversation helpful so far? I'm heading there as well," Zheng Bai quickly added, seizing the rare chance to draw closer to the young master of the Divine General Mansion. A perfect opportunity to build a connection that could lead to invaluable alliances. "How? What do you think?" Li Yuanzhao turned to Li Hao for his opinion. "I don't mind," Li Hao replied. "Since Hao has no objections, you can all join," Li Yuanzhao decided. Du Qiyue and Zheng Bai exchanged glances, both feeling a spark of excitement. Just then, Su Yahua at the front spoke up. "Let me explain the rules. Each task is limited to 5 people. I'll start the count now. The first task is to assist in resolving a demon-caused disturbance in a village under the Kangzhou Demon Subjugation Department. The task offers 5 academic credits. Who's interested?" "I am." "Me too." 7 hands immediately shot up. Among the available tasks, the highest score was only 15 points, and it carried the most difficulty, suggesting a high risk of encountering demons at Cycle Heaven Realm perfection. However, for this first task, intelligence predicted only the possibility of demons at the 2nd to 5th levels of the Zhoutian realm, making it considerably easier. "There are too many of you. You can either discuss among yourselves or use the martial arts ranking to decide those with lower ranks should pick another task," Su Yahua said. The 7 glanced at each other, and 2 voluntarily sat down. Su Yahua then continued to announce the other tasks, with those interested raising their hands to choose. 3 people were drawn to some tasks, while others attracted only 1 participant, and some remained untouched. "They're going to take on a task in Yunzhou. The demons there were recently dealt with, but there are still remnants to eliminate," said Li Yuanzhao, who noticed the Li Yun siblings' choice of a high-stakes task and couldn't help but feel concerned. Despite their differences, having grown up together, he couldn't shake the feeling of wanting them to be safe. "Tell them to stay cautious and not be too eager for glory," Li Hao said, noticing the siblings' excitement. His frown deepened as he spoke. "I will," Li Yuanzhao replied, planning to give them a word of caution once his own task was settled. Soon after, Su Yahua mentioned the Qi State task, prompting Li Hao to immediately signal his intent to take it on. Li Yuanzhao, Du Qiyue, and Zheng Bai followed suit. But then a male and female also raised their hands from a different spot. "She's going too?" Du Qiyue remarked in surprise upon seeing the girl raise her hand. Ren Qianxian, ranked 4th in the martial arts rankings, is the daughter of a grandmaster, renowned for her extraordinary swordsmanship. Zheng Bai's expression shifted as he realized that the young man ahead of him, ranked higher on the martial arts rankings, wasn't a newcomer but a seasoned senior student. With 6 people now vying for the task, it was clear that Zheng Bai, being last in line, would have to step down. Yet, the main reason for choosing the Qi State task lay with Li Hao's decision. If Li Hao withdrew, it would likely force Li Yuanzhao to do the same. Zheng Bai cast a hopeful glance toward Li Hao, silently wishing that he would opt for a different task. Meanwhile, Ren Qianqian and the young man noticed Li Hao and his companions. While Ren Qianqian simply gave them a passing glance, her expression as composed as ever, the young man was taken aback, his face lighting up with delight. "We're over the limit," Su Yahua stated, her eyes scanning the group. "Discuss among yourselves who will step down. If no one volunteers, we'll follow the rules." Ren Qianqian sat down, her mind not dwelling much on the moment, as she had no choice but to be here. The young man's gaze swept past Li Hao, fully aware that offending the young lord of the Divine General Mansion was not an option, despite his low position in the martial arts ranking. Being part of Alpha Academy indicated potential yet to be revealed. His eyes then shifted to Zheng Bai, a smile forming on his face as he spoke. "Qi State is dangerous. It's my homeland, and I can guide them. Perhaps you should reconsider?" Zheng Bai's face reddened slightly. Those words left him with little room to push further without risking offense. "Fine," he said, his face shifting as he masked his emotions. He turned to Li Yuanzhao and Li Hao. "I hope you have a safe journey. Let's take on a task together another time." "All right," Li Yuanzhao replied, accepting the decision, and offered Zheng Bai a comforting pat on the shoulder. "Stay safe out there," Du Qiue added. Zheng Bai smiled and nodded, feeling a hint of regret that he couldn't join forces with Li Hao and the others. However, it was just the beginning of the school year, and there would surely be other chances in the future. Once the headcount was settled, Su Yahua moved on to assign the remaining tasks. Soon, everyone had made their selections. Those with the same duties gathered as instructed by Su Yahua. "When do we leave?" asked the youth Yue, his gaze shifting toward Li Yuanzhao and Ren Qianqian. "Now," Ren Qianqian responded calmly. Yet Du Qiue's eyes lingered on Li Hao. "How? What do you think?" asked Li Yuanzhao. "Let's go now. The sooner the better," Li Hao replied with a steady resolve. Riding on the swift red blood horses, the 5 of them charged out of Qingzhou with exhilarating speed. The thrill of galloping through the open land, swords in hand, ignited a spark of joy and freedom in both Yu Wei and Li Yuanzhao. They felt unburdened by the world around them. Such a magnificent steed, truly a warrior's mount. "This speed is beyond measure," Yu Wei said, his eyes gleaming as the landscape blurred past him. Du Qiue, though an experienced rider, was riding a red blood horse for the first time, and despite her composed nature, her youthful excitement was betrayed by a faint blush. Red blood horses are not for sale. Anyone caught attempting to buy one would be committing a grave crime. Li Yuanzhao remarked with a proud glint in his eyes, still holding on to a touch of youthful arrogance. Yu Wei and Du Qiue couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. There are those born to places others can only dream of reaching, such as the stark difference in their worlds. Thanks to the horses' extraordinary speed, they would reach Qi State from Qingzhou in less than 2 days. Above them, a lone, crow-like bird soared through the sky, adding an eerie, silent presence to the otherwise lively journey. Riding the red blood horses, the 5 companions charged out of Qingzhou. The thrill of galloping through the open fields, swords in hand, brought an air of carefree joy to Yu Wei and Li Yuanzhao's faces, their spirits soaring with youthful excitement. "This is truly a magnificent steed. The speed is unmatched. It cannot be bought for any price." Yu Wei marveled, his eyes fixed on the passing landscape. For Duqi Yue, riding a red blood horse for the first time, the experience was no less thrilling. Despite her poised demeanor, the faint blush on her cheeks revealed her excitement. Li Yuanchao, still the proud young man, added, "Red blood horses aren't for sale. Trying to buy one is punishable by law." His tone was filled with a subtle pride, as if possessing such a rare horse set him apart from the rest. Yu Wei and Du Qiyu exchanged looks, envious of a privilege not everyone could ever attain. With the speed of these horses, it would take no more than 2 days to reach Qi State from Qingzhou. Above, a black bird resembling a crow soared, its dark wings cutting through the sky.
Is that the son of the execution martial marquis? A serpent-like figure hissed, its eyes narrowing. I'm certain of it, the child replied, his voice trembling. My thousand god-eye skill doesn't make mistakes. He bowed quickly, his head dipping low. Also, 2 others are shadowing them. One is at the divine travel realm, and the other, I can't perceive their strength. As the child finished speaking, the black water pool rippled, and another serpent surfaced, its body sleeker with a pale belly scale. It's been 4 years since we were sent to eliminate the son of the execution martial marquis, and we've waited long enough, the serpent said, its voice human-like. In a blur of movement, they leapt from the water, transforming into cloaked figures. A man with a demonic face and a woman whose beauty was haunting. Their serpent traits remained forked tongues flicking out as they smiled sinisterly. They believe we've abandoned our mission, but we demons with a millennium of cultivation possess the one thing we need most: patience. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Li Hao and his companions made their way along the official road. They passed by small traders and tea stalls offering rest for travelers. Along the way, they encountered an escort agency transporting goods, brave adventurers joining forces to battle demons, and farmers toiling in the fields of small villages. The journey felt peaceful, but dark clouds were gathering in the distance, both literal and metaphorical. A serpentine creature hissed, "Is it the son of that execution martial marquis?" Another voice, confident, responded, "I'm certain. My thousand god-eye skill never errs." The child, momentarily shaken, quickly bowed respectfully and added, "There are 2 following them. One is at the divine travel realm, but the other, I can't see." As his words faded, the black water pool rippled, and another serpent emerged from its depth slender with a white belly scale. 4 years, it murmured, since we were dispatched to eliminate the execution martial marquis' son. With a flicker of their forms, the serpents leapt ashore, transforming into cloaked figures, a man with a demonic face and a woman whose allure matched her dangerous smile. Their serpentine tongues flicked out, tasting the air. "They must think we've given up," they hissed, their eyes glinting with dark amusement. "But we, demons who've cultivated for 1,000 years, have one thing in abundance: patience." As dusk fell, Li Hao and his companions trotted along the road, passing by tea stalls and the occasional traveler. They crossed paths with cargo-laden caravans, adventurers brimming with Jianghu pride, and humble farmers tilling their fields. Life moved in its quiet rhythm until the storm stirred beneath the surface, waiting to unfold, Du Qiyu whispered. "It's good that he's not here, or he would be furious." Yu Wei nodded. The general mansion guarding the Mo River has sacrificed so much, yet the common people remain unaware. It's the same for those who protect the borders, slaying demons. People see the general mansion's name, but few can tell its true role. He sighed, his tone laced with unspoken admiration for the Li family. Li Hao, however, didn't seem upset. Instead, he calmly responded, "The lives of common folks are hard. Their days consumed by survival, so they don't have the luxury to look up. It's normal, they don't know. But even if they did, it wouldn't change anything. As for us, the Li family defends the frontier pass, not for praise, but because it's needed, just as the common folk need us." Yu Wei, expecting flattery, was taken aback. Du Qiyu, who had once seen Li Hao as nothing more than a carefree playboy, was now struck with a new sense of respect for him. Du Qiyu whispered, "It's a good thing he's not here, or he'd be furious hearing this." Yu Wei nodded, his tone deep with thought. The divine general mansion guarding the Mo River has made countless sacrifices, yet the people remain unaware. It's the same for the Li family. They defend the border and battle demons, but few truly recognize their sacrifices. He sighed, his words carrying a hint of admiration for the Li family. Li Hao, however, was unfazed. He simply nodded and replied, "The lives of ordinary people are hard. They're focused on survival, counting coins day by day. It's natural they don't know. Even if they did, it wouldn't change their lives. As for the Li family, we don't defend the frontier for praise. We do it because the frontier needs us, just as the people do." Yu Wei, who had initially hoped to flatter him, fell silent. Du Yue, surprised and impressed, looked at Li Hao in a new light. What she had once thought of as a carefree playboy now appeared to have a wisdom far beyond her expectations. Their respect for the authority of the Divine General Mansion grew deeper, emerging from a place of genuine admiration. By his side, Ren Xianxia, holding his sword, glanced at Li Hao, her eyes lingering on his fair, handsome face, her gaze softening. "Hao's right," she agreed. Li Yuanzhao, who had been slightly dissatisfied, felt a surge of excitement upon hearing Li Hao's words. Li Hao smiled, placing a reassuring hand on Yuanzhao's shoulder. "Let's go in for some tea, my treat." "No, you shouldn't be the one treating. We're heading to Qi State to slay demons, which is helping my hometown. I should thank you on behalf of the people of Qi State. I'll take care of the expenses." Yu Wei immediately jumped in, seizing the opportunity, and walked into the tea shop to order tea and snacks. "It's almost dark, sir. Are you really not afraid of demons?" Du Yue asked, pouring a cup of tea but first testing it with a silver needle for poison. She expertly conducted the test, ensuring there was no poison before rinsing the cups for everyone. "Maybe in other places, but this road is very safe. I've been running my stall here for decades without any incidents," the tea shop owner said with a warm smile. "You're really lucky," Li Hao remarked, impressed. Demon attacks within the region were rare, though they still happened every year. For those like them, who dealt with demons, such incidents were a constant undercurrent. However, the general public was often unaware, with news of minor demon encounters being suppressed to prevent widespread panic. The Monster Suppression Department worked to keep such events under wraps, ensuring the people could live peacefully and work without fear. After all, if rumors of demons spread, trade, farming, and labor would grind to a halt, disrupting the prosperity of the land. As soon as the food arrived, the steamed dumplings quickly became the center of attention. The taste was beyond expectations. Li Hao couldn't help but devour 2 baskets, praising the dish relentlessly. He even started discussing the intricacies of the cooking process with the owner, leaving the others at the table speechless. Li Yuanzhao, familiar with Li Hao's eccentric nature, couldn't help but be curious about Ren Xianxian sitting beside him. He asked, "Why do you always hold your sword even while eating? Doesn't it get in the way?" Du Yue and Yu Wei glanced at the girl, who, with a dumpling in one hand, was still clutching her sword in the other. Ren Xianxian paused, casting a thoughtful look at Li Yuanzhao before answering, "The sword is a part of me. I no longer notice it." Du Yue, with a hint of envy, remarked, "I heard that to truly understand the essence of a sword, you need to always carry it with you. I've tried, but it never worked. The key is to fall in love with it." Ren Xianxian replied sincerely. Du Yue gave a wry smile. "I do like it." Ren Xianxian glanced at her but chose not to say more. Whether or not one truly loves something, the mind may be unaware, but the heart always knows. That's why it's called taking heart. Soon after the feast, Li Hao, engrossed in conversation with the tea house owner, left the man more than a little confused. The young hero spoke with such precision about kneading dough with warm water, fermenting, and how to rid meat fillings of any gamey taste. If not for his attire, the owner might have thought him an experienced chef, even an expert. "Young hero, you must be full by now," the owner said, his smile forced, wary of Li Hao uncovering his secret recipe. Li Hao noticed the owner's reluctance and was about to excuse himself when his eyes suddenly narrowed. He raised his hand and grasped a streak of black light. The ground beneath him cratered as the black light struck. When he opened his hand, he found an oval, triangular scale. His divine soul surged out, a golden beam visible only to those of the divine travel realm, piercing through the sky. In an instant, Li Hao saw, 15 miles away, a woman with seductive features and scales on her jaw, standing atop a tree, her astonished gaze fixed on him. The black light matched the scales on her cheeks perfectly. Li Hao's eyes gleamed with coldness. A demon? Up in the tree, the Black Zhao beauty watched in disbelief, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Her scale, fired with precision across 15 miles, had failed to slay this human? How did he catch it so effortlessly? I have something to take care of. Wait here for me, Li Hao said to the four at the tea table, holding the scale as he stepped outside. In the blink of an eye, he vanished from their sight. Yu Wei, who had been rinsing his mouth with tea, immediately spat it out, eyes bulging in shock. He's gone? He stammered, pointing at the empty space where Li Hao had been. Du Qiue stood up in alarm, her expression wide with disbelief. Where did he go? Beside her, Ren Xianxia stood frozen, her eyes darting in every direction, scanning meticulously, yet Li Hao was nowhere to be found. Not even a trace, no footprint, no sign of him. In an instant, right under their noses, he had vanished. It was clear that unless he had used some obscure technique she had never encountered, his speed had far surpassed her ability to see. A chill ran down her spine as she considered what might happen if he used such speed against her. Her fingers tightened around her sword hilt. What is he? Yu Wei stammered, his eyes wide with unease as he turned toward Li Yuanzhao. Yuanzhao, what level is your brother Hao at? Du Qiue, still regaining her composure, couldn't hold back and asked the same. Li Yuanzhao was just as confused, his thoughts racing. In all his time with Brother Hao, he had never witnessed such a move. Cultivation level? Wasn't Brother Hao following the path of body refinement? His mother had said that the limit of body refinement was low, that reaching the Zhou Tian realm was already impressive, and surpassing that, reaching the soul succession realm, was nearly impossible.
Could it be that Brother Hao has succeeded in soul succession? Li Yuanzhao's heart raced with excitement. He wasn't entirely ignorant entering the soul succession realm meant Brother Hao could harness the energies of heaven and earth, signaling that his meridians had opened. Brother Hao could now cultivate. The mere thought of this possibility caused Li Yuanzhao's hands to tremble with anticipation. Meanwhile, at a distance of 15 li, the Black Jiao stood frozen in disbelief, doubting her own eyes. In her stunned state, she saw Li Hao emerge from a small tea shop and streak towards her like a bolt of golden lightning. His speed was astonishing. He was moving with complete control of his body. The Black Jiao's face turned pale with shock. This was the unmistakable mark of the 15 Li realm. This son of the criminal military marquis had reached the 15 Li realm.
Her mind froze for a split second. What she thought would be a simple decapitation from a distance quickly turned into something unimaginable. A crushing wave of impending doom enveloped her, snapping her back to reality. Without hesitation, she tried to escape, desperate to reunite with her husband. A flicker of darkness, and she leapt into the air, her sights set on the horizon. But before she could even cover a few hundred meters, a blinding golden light shot down from the heavens. A delicate yet firm hand emerged from the light, pressing down upon her head, pushing her into the ground with terrifying force. The earth cracked beneath her as she crashed into it. The Black Jiao beauty's head was trapped in a deep pit, her face a mess of disarray. Fear paralyzed Herthis was no mere power of the 15 Li realm. It was something far beyond. The hand on her head felt like unmovable steel, crushing her under the weight of 1,000 mountains, rendering her utterly powerless.
With a roar that could rival thunder itself, she unleashed her true form. A black demonic aura surging around her. The massive dragon's head tore through the mist, aiming for a strike, but in a blink, a boot adorned with intricate patterns crushed it into the ground. The dragon's tail lashed out from behind, but without even turning, a swift punch from Li Hao sent it crashing down with a thundering impact. The sound of scales breaking and the tail recoiling violently echoed through the air. Beneath him, the dragon let out pained, muffled howls. As the demon fog cleared, Li Hao stood calmly, one foot pressing the dragon's head into the earth, his hand on his knee as he studied the creature beneath him. An ambush? You didn't come to kill. Who sent you? He asked softly, his voice devoid of anger. The Black Jiao trembled at his words, sensing the cold chill that followed.
Who exactly are you? Her voice trembled, barely escaping her lips as fear clouded her senses. In a single, overwhelming encounter, she had been completely subdued. Was this person truly from the heavenly human realm? The suspicion gnawed at her. Could it be that the Divine General Mansion already knew about the assassination attempt? Was this a trap? A counterattack in disguise? Why did you choose me out of everyone at the tea stall? Don't you know who I am? Li Hao let out a cold laugh, convinced that aside from his ordinary appearance, there was nothing exceptional about him. If this was a plot against the Divine General Mansion, they had clearly come prepared. Are you truly the son of the Marquis? Impossible. Age doesn't lie. The Black Jiao mother was shocked, her voice tinged with a mix of disbelief and frustration. Marquis Xingwu's son is only 14 this year, and you're already in the 15 Li realm? Even the mightiest of demons with a 9th grade war physique would find it nearly impossible to reach such heights at this age. Li Hao raised an eyebrow, his mind racing. Do you know my father? He asked, suddenly recalling the assassination attempt when he was 7, his eyes narrowing. You couldn't have been sent by the demons of Northern Yan, could you? Back at the tea stand, he could have easily countered the attack, but he had given chase to understand the deeper reason. The Black Jiao mother's shock deepened as she gazed at him in disbelief. Are you really his son? She asked, her eyes wide as if trying to read him. Li Hao's expression turned cold as he tightened his stance. Let's hear it. What's going on with Northern Yan? Why has it been at a standstill for so long? Do your demon kin not understand the strength of the Great Yu dynasty? Even without the Li family, if a gap truly opens, other Divine General Mansions would quickly send reinforcements, and the Dayu army, led by the royal family, would be on standby, ready to move at a moment's notice. Are your demons that desperate? The Black Jiao mother sneered, only to realize her mistake. Anger quickly replaced her arrogance. With such talent, you could have trained on a prestigious mountain and gained fame under the heavens. Why hide your strength and act like you're worthless? The first step? Li Hao frowned. It seemed the demon forces attacking Northern Yan were massive, aiming to swallow all of Dayu. But how could that be? How many demons would need to unite for such a thing? He glanced at the Black Jiao mother beneath him. Hide my strength? I rarely had the chance to show you my abilities, did I? When I was fishing for Jiao at midnight, you didn't even notice. Could you really blame me for that? If you cooperate and use your head, I might just spare your life, Li Hao said, his tone calm and measured. The Black Jiao mother froze, her heart filling with an icy dread at his words. Fishing for Jiao at midnight? She echoed, her voice barely a whisper as the shock rendered her speechless. Li Hao didn't wait for a response. Have you made up your mind? Cultivation isn't easy. Don't be so quick to give up, he added, his gaze unwavering. Slowly, the Black Jiao mother regained her composure, her fear palpable. In that moment, only one thought filled her mind: survival. She had to escape, to reveal this terrifying intelligence. If Monarch Bai learned of the child's true potential, even without the Northern Yan battlefield's issues, he would stop at nothing to have him eliminated. This child would one day become a dangerous threat. What she had initially believed to be an overreaction, sending her and her husband to deal with the matter, now seemed like an immense underestimation. Not of the Divine General Mansion's power, but of the prey itself. Seeing the Black Jiao's silence, Li Hao murmured, So, you wish to die? It's been ages since I've had Jiao meat, and today, I'll feast on your liver. I wonder if it's as tender as it looks. The Black Jiao mother's pupils tightened, as if a dark force had whispered its presence. It was demons that devoured humans, but this young man desired to consume a demon not for its core, but for its liver's taste. Husband, save me! She cried desperately, just as Li Hao was about to strike. Pausing, Li Hao's attention sharpened another one. His divine soul rose, scanning the area. Moments later, he saw a fierce battle 30 li away, where a massive Black Jiao clashed against two opponents. Li Hao had long been aware of the two figures fighting the Black Jiao from afar as they trailed him on the road. One was familiar Fu. The other, however, was a stranger not from the Divine General Mansion, someone likely sent by Ren Xianxia. The battle they fought was perilously intense, with Fu already wounded and relegated to providing backup support. Without hesitation, a sharp glint appeared in Li Hao's eyes as he stooped to pluck a scale from the Black Jiao mother's head. He flung it with deadly precision, transforming it into a streak of black light that shot into the sky, vanishing in an instant. The Black Jiao mother, in a state of shock, panicked and demanded to know his intentions. 30 li away, Fu and his companion were being overwhelmed. Li Hao's sudden intervention revealed the true danger they faced a great demon from the 15 Li realm, a threat neither of them had anticipated. Li Hao had long been aware of the two figures fighting the Black Jiao from afar as they trailed him on the road. One was familiar Fu. The other, however, was a stranger, not from the Divine General Mansion, someone likely sent by Ren Xianxia. The battle they fought was perilously intense, with Fu already wounded and relegated to providing backup support. Without hesitation, a sharp glint appeared in Li Hao's eyes as he stooped to pluck a scale from the Black Jiao Mother's He. With only the Divine Travel Realm cultivation level, escape seemed nearly impossible for him, but fortunately, someone from the 15 Li realm came to his aid. However, the situation was dire. The distress signal he had sent earlier was devoured by the Great Demon, leaving them to find another way out. Die! The Black Jiao's roar echoed as it prepared to strike, aiming to tear apart the burly man it had already knocked off the hilltop. Just then, a sharp, piercing sound filled the air. The Black Jiao snapped its head toward the sound, its eyes widening as a black scale grew rapidly larger. With terrifying speed, the scale pierced its eyeball, destroying everything in its skull before it could even react. Blood poured from the Black Jiao's mouth as it trembled, unable to believe its sister's scale had struck it. Crashing to the ground, its life force quickly drained away. A single scale had brought down the mighty beast from 30 li away. Li Fu, who had been ready to assist, stood frozen in shock, watching the Black Jiao plummet ad. He flung it with deadly precision, transforming it into a streak of black light that shot into the sky, vanishing in an instant. The Black Jiao Mother, in a state of shock, panicked and demanded to know his intentions. 30 li away, Fu and his companion were being overwhelmed. Li Hao's sudden intervention revealed the true danger they faced a great demon from the 15 Li realm, a threat neither of them had anticipated. In a flash, he quickly scanned the surroundings, catching sight of the fleeting black light there had been outside help. Using his divine traveling technique, he searched the area. With the peerless divine refinement skill, his reach extended an impressive 18 miles. Although not directly from a renowned family, Li Fu's military accomplishments, combined with aid from a powerful ally, had granted him this rare skill, making him a notable figure in the divine travel realm. Now, with this power, he could see everything within an 18-mile radius, yet there was no trace of anyone. At that moment, the burly man reacted with alarm, his face paling. He immediately began searching for his mysterious benefactor, but finding no trace, he realized the helper had concealed their identity. He bowed deeply and respectfully, expressing his gratitude. "Thank you for your help, Senior. I hope you'll reveal your name so I can repay this life-saving grace in the future." His voice echoed for miles. The silence lingered, and with no reply, Wei Feng could only manage a wry smile, his thoughts drifting to the senior who had effortlessly slain the Jiao dragon with a single strike. Such a figure likely wouldn't be moved by his gratitude. A pang of regret stirred within him as he turned to Li Fu, his voice carrying a hint of curiosity. "Could that senior possibly be from your Divine General Mansion?" Li Fu, taken aback, found himself contemplating the possibility, wondering if this was the doing of some hidden grandmaster behind his companion. The Divine General Mansion. It was just him, wasn't it? Could someone from the 4 academies have intervened instead? Doubt clouded his thoughts as he spoke. "I'm not certain, but whoever this senior is, Divine General Mansion will remember their kindness." With those words, he bowed respectfully to the heavens around him. Meanwhile, miles away, the female Black Jiao, sharp-eyed, sensed the overwhelming aura of her mate fading into nothingness. In a flash, she glanced at Li Hao, only to find him unmoved, adjusting his clothes with a calm demeanor, as if tossing aside a mere pebble. With a trembling voice, the woman asked, "What have you done to my husband?" Li Hao replied with a faint smile, "What do you think? I'm afraid your husband won't make it here. You can give up now. If you're willing to talk, I might consider sparing your life." Her body shook as she felt her husband's aura fading, yet she had no idea what had truly happened, the distance too far for her divine soul to reach. But Li Hao's calm demeanor unsettled her deeply. After a brief hesitation, she dropped her resistance, her voice turning soft and coaxing. "All right, whatever you want to know, I'll tell you. The shift in her tone reminded Li Hao of the cunning tricks demons often use to deceive others. The demon races, known for their violent nature, were capable of manipulating the minds of others when they were weak, using charm and confusion as their weapon. Stop toying with me. Tell me what's happening with the demon race in Northern Yan, and why they keep attacking, Li Hao demanded coldly. The Black Jiao woman, her voice gentle, replied, "Please loosen your grip a little, and I will tell you everything." "Quit stalling!" Li Hao snapped, his patience wearing thin. As the demon mist cleared, the Black Jiao transformed back into a stunning woman, lying on the ground like a delicate willow branch, her cheeks still under Li Hao's foot. Despite her disheveled appearance, her eyes held a soft, pleading look as she gazed up at him. "Don't you have any mercy for a woman?" "I have no interest in a decayed snake," Li Hao responded indifferently. The woman's eyes flashed with humiliation. Being called a snake was her greatest insult. Yet, to escape the dire situation, she swallowed her pride and in a weak voice pleaded, "I don't know much about Northern Yan, but could you at least ease your hold so we can speak more comfortably?" Slowly, her hand slid up Li Hao's boot, a silent invitation cloaked in tension, but he met it with frost. "Impressive! Already thinking of betrayal, and your husband's corpse isn't even cold." Her stunned expression cracked open as she stammered, disbelief bleeding into grief. "My husband, he..." Li Hao's eyes remained unreadable, but the truth hit her like a falling sky. Memories of her husband's fading aura and the sharp flash of scales returned like a blade. Her sorrow ignited into fury. "You killed him! I'll tear you apart!" she shrieked, eyes bloodshot, voice unhinged. "You want Northern Yan secrets? Keep dreaming! My demon blood swore loyalty to the sacred palace. I'd die before I talk." She hurled herself at him, claws outstretched, madness in every movement. Even her body twisted, unraveling into her true form of Black Jiao, wild and vengeful, lunging one final time.
Li Hao's brows furrowed in surprise. The news of her husband's death had sparked an unexpected, furious reaction. Could demons truly feel? As the Black Jiao writhed in a frenzy, he pressed down on its head again, trying to subdue it. Yet, the female Black Jiao seemed utterly irrational, roaring and thrashing uncontrollably. With no other choice, Li Hao delivered a crushing blow to her head, silencing her with a sudden, deafening shriek. Blood splattered on his hands as he wiped it off, glancing at the twitching tail of the fallen creature. A soft sigh escaped him. After all that effort, he had learned nothing. The plot of the Sacred Palace and the Northern Yan demon race's invasion of Daiyu? His father, whom he hadn't seen in over a decade, probably knew more than he did. Shaking his head, Li Hao turned away and walked back toward the tea stall outside the official road, knowing that Fu and the others would take care of the Black Jiao's remains. Outside the quiet tea stall, all eyes snapped toward the road as Li Hao emerged, calm and silent, his presence unsettling the still air. Yue Wei flinched instinctively, while Li Yuanzhao's expression shifted from shock to awe as he rushed over, voice low with urgency. "How? Did you reach the Soul Succession Realm?" Li Hao blinked, then nodded slightly. A faint smile touching his lips. It was long behind him. Yuanzhao's eyes lit up like stars, his joy uncontained. But Li Hao, ever serene, gave a light pat on the shoulder and said, "Just a small step. Have you all eaten yet?" Yuanzhao, used to Hao's understatement, leaned closer, whispering, "If our mother knew, she'd be overjoyed." Li Hao only nodded again, gaze distant, heart steady.
As thoughts of their noble and dignified mother stirred in his heart, Li Hao felt an involuntary solemnity, a quiet reverence born from years of unchanging warmth she alone had shown him. Back when he first stepped into the veiled world of cultivation and ambition, he was naive, mistaking polished smiles for sincerity, and was easily taken advantage of. But time reveals the nature of all things. Now, with clearer eyes, he saw through the facades of each madam in the household, especially Madame Four, who raised Yuan Zhao. Though childless and outwardly kind, she was anything but simple, cloaked in a silence that masked sharp intent. Just then, Du Qi Yue called out curiously as Li Hao returned, "Li Hao, where did you go?" With a faint smile, he answered, "Encountered a demon." took care of it. He hadn't meant to stir fear, but with their journey to Chi State approaching a mission soaked in real danger, it was better they sensed the weight of what lay ahead. A demon? The air tensed. The group froze. Ren Xianxia studied his face, unsure if his calm words concealed something far more dangerous. Do you like this personality? At the tea stall, the old man blinked in disbelief. Young hero, did you say? A demon? Li Hao simply smiled and replied, Boss, night's falling. You'd best head home early. The old man leaned closer, still curious. So it was real? A demon? Li Hao chuckled softly, though a quiet sigh escaped him only he didn't quite understand himself. Saying no more, he glanced at the group finishing their food and gave the signal to mount up. As they rode on under the deepening sky, the red blood horse steady beneath them, Yue and Duki Yue began to chat more freely again, emboldened by the calm after the storm. They dared to ask, half in awe, if he truly stepped into the soul succession realm. Li Hao gave only a calm smile and a silent nod. The two gasped, stunned beyond words, realizing that the most powerful disciple of Alpha Academy had been right beside them all along. The girl astride her steed, sword at her side, clenched the reins with quiet intensity. As Li Hao and his group moved beyond the tea stall's edge, a lone bird pierced the clouded sky, flying fast toward the north. But within its eyes flickered dread. What it carried was not just a message, but a storm, a youth of the Li clan, merely 14, suspected to be a grandmaster. Such a truth could fracture peace, shake empires, and stir fear in the deepest halls of the sacred palace. Should the elders learn of this, another direct disciple from Gantao Palace would be crushed before he could rise. Far from this unfolding shadow, in a jungle soaked with blood, the corpses of Jiao dragons lay silent, their heads shattered, their power drained, their secrets waiting. Li Fu and Wei Feng, drawn by the stench of death, arrived too late. But even in death, the remains of a black Jiao promised strength, its core, its scales, its claws, all remnants of a battle that had already redrawn the lines of power. The girl astride her steed, sword at her side, clenched the reins with quiet intensity. As Li Hao and his group moved beyond the tea stall's edge, a lone bird pierced the clouded sky, flying fast toward the north. But within its eyes flickered dread. What it carried was not just a message, but a storm. A youth of the Li clan, merely 14, suspected to be a grandmaster. Such a truth could fracture peace, shake empires, and stir fear in the deepest halls of the sacred palace. Should the elders learn of this, another direct disciple from Gantao Palace would be crushed before he could rise. Far from this unfolding shadow, in a jungle soaked with blood, the corpses of Jiao dragons lay silent, their heads shattered, their power drained, their secrets waiting. Li Fu and Wei Feng, drawn by the stench of death, arrived too late. But even in death, the remains of a black Jiao promised strength, its core, its scales, its claws, all remnants of a battle that had already redrawn the lines of power. The girl astride her steed, sword at her side, clenched the reins with quiet intensity. As Li Hao and his group moved beyond the tea stall's edge, a lone bird pierced the clouded sky, flying fast toward the north. But within its eyes flickered dread. What it carried was not just a message, but a storm. A youth of the Li clan, merely 14, suspected to be a grandmaster. Such a truth could fracture peace, shake empires, and stir fear in the deepest halls of the sacred palace. Should the elders learn of this, another direct disciple from Gantao Palace would be crushed before he could rise. Far from this unfolding shadow, in a jungle soaked with blood, the corpses of Jiao dragons lay silent, their heads shattered, their power drained, their secrets waiting. Li Fu and Wei Feng, drawn by the stench of death, arrived too late. But even in death, the remains of a black Jiao promised strength, its core, its scales, its claws, all remnants of a battle that had already redrawn the lines of power. Amid swirling tension, the vigilant guard senses the twin Jiao dragons aren't after the poised young lady at all. They're stalking the Divine General Mansion's twin heirs. Seeking pay, steam rises from untouched cups as Li Fu, eyes narrowed, dispatches Wei Feng to trail their quarry while he signals the mansion to retro. 2 days after setting out, Li Hao and his companions crossed Chi's border and, by afternoon, reached Kangyu City, a mid-tier hub of 4 to 5 million where their demon-slaying commission awaited. Messenger birds S As the recruits announced themselves, Song Yueyao offered only a cool nod before gliding away, her divine travel presence streaking like ink through the midday crowd. The youthful inspector at her side lingered just long enough to admire the newcomer's crimson blood horse, flash a gentle warning about the surge of demon calamities beyond the walls, and promise aid before sprinting after her. The street swallowed them, leaving Yu Wei wide-eyed at the realization they had brushed shoulders with the Black Yu Whitehall's celebrated pair song already wearing the monster suppression insignia. Duqiue whispered that Yueyao's poise rivaled the celestial and that, now in the divine travel realm, she could govern a city with ease. Even the veteran officer guiding the novices confirmed it, voice tinged with respect as he recalled how, on her very first night here, she dispatched a centuries-old demon as effortlessly as drawing breath. Swept into Kangyu's Monster Suppression HQ, Li Hao's group receives crisp uniforms and a warning that this border city crawl, their status was nothing short of intimidating. To them, slaying demons was a way to gain recognition, but for the people around them, it was a livelihood of duty intertwined with their existence. Soon, 5 official uniforms arrived. With intricate sleeve patterns and wooden tags, it was clear these were for monster suppression officials. In the monster suppression department, those at the Power Passage realm were apprentices, those at the Zhoutian realm held the title of officials, and the Soul Succession realm practitioners were instructors. Above them all were inspectors, a rank matching that of the highest positions, like the one signified by Song Yueyao's uniform. Please, Senior, could you provide us with a full report of recent demon sightings across the territory? Li Hao requested of Kuei Fan. Is this conversation helpful so far? Their status was nothing short of intimidating. To them, slaying demons was a way to gain recognition, but for the people around them, it was a livelihood of duty intertwined with their existence. Soon, 5 official uniforms arrived. With intricate sleeve patterns and wooden tags, it was clear these were for monster suppression officials. In the monster suppression department, those at the Power Passage realm were apprentices. Those at the Zhoutian realm held the title of officials, and the Soul Succession realm practitioners were instructors. Above them all were inspectors, a rank matching that of the highest positions, like the one signified by Song Yueyao's uniform. Please, Senior, could you provide us with a full report of recent demon sightings across the territory? Li Hao requested of Kuei Fan. Is this conversation helpful so far?